What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, your body is performing an act of cosmic alchemy that physicists once thought was impossible? Every single photon of light hitting your skin isn't just warming you up, it's participating in a dance between existence and non-existence that fundamentally challenges everything you thought you knew about reality itself. Here's the mind-blowing part. Einstein's most famous equation, E equals mc, isn't just some abstract formula scribbled on a chalkboard. It's a recipe, a literal instruction manual for transforming pure energy light into solid, tangible matter. And the reverse? Matter can become light again. Your existence, my existence, everything we've ever touched or seen is just frozen light, temporarily taking a break from traveling at cosmic speed. In 1997, scientists at Stanford Linear Accelerator Center achieved something that sounds like science fiction. They took pure light, smashed photons together, and created matter from nothing. No chemicals, no atoms, just light becoming particles with mass, popping into existence like magic. But this isn't magic, it's the universe showing us its deepest secret. And here's what will absolutely shatter your perception of reality. This transformation happens in reverse all around you, constantly. The warm glow from your computer screen, that's matter becoming light. The sunshine streaming through your window, that began as matter in the core of the sun, transformed into the light that's now hitting your face. You are literally surrounded by this cosmic transformation every single second of your life, and you never even knew it was happening. Before we dive deeper into this rabbit hole, I need you to do something for me. If this idea that light and matter are just two sides of the same coin, if that blows your mind, hit that like button right now. And subscribe, because over the next 3 hours, I'm going to fundamentally change how you see reality itself. Also, drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from and what time it is there. I want to know where this message about the nature of existence is reaching people. Are you watching at midnight, mind blown and unable to sleep? At sunrise, witnessing the transformation we're about to discuss? Tell me. Now, let's start with what you think you know about light. You learned in school that light is a wave, right? Ripples of electromagnetic radiation traveling through space at 299,792,458 meters per second. Nothing can go faster. That's the cosmic speed limit. Light is energy, pure and simple. It has no mass, no substance. It's the ethereal messenger of the universe, carrying information from distant stars to your eyes. And matter? Matter is solid, real. It has mass. It takes up space. It's made of atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, tiny building blocks that combine to create everything from your phone to your body to the planet beneath your feet. Matter is substance. Light is not. They're fundamentally different categories of existence. Except they're not. Think of it like this. Imagine reality as a cosmic bank, and there's only one currency: existence itself. Light and matter are just different denominations of that same currency. A photon is like a dollar bill pure exchange value, moving at maximum speed. A particle of matter is like that same dollar stored in a vault, locked in place, slow and stable. But they're the same currency. They can be exchanged, converted, transformed. The man who first figured this out wasn't working in some high-tech laboratory. In 1905, a 26-year-old patent clerk named Albert Einstein was sitting in his apartment in Bern, Switzerland, performing what he called thought experiments. He imagined riding alongside a beam of light, asked himself what he would see, and the universe answered him with an equation that would change everything. E equals mc. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Look at that equation carefully. Energy, that's what light is made of. Mass, that's what matter has. And Einstein put an equals sign between them. Not is related to, not affects, equals. They are the same thing, just wearing different costumes. But here's the twist that most people miss. That little c squared term, the speed of light, squared that number is astronomically huge. 299,792,458 meters per second, multiplied by itself, equals about 90 quadrillion. That means a tiny amount of mass contains an absolutely mind-boggling amount of energy. 1 kilogram of matter, about the weight of a textbook, contains the same energy as 21 megatons of TNT. That's 1,400 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Every single atom in your body is a compressed bundle of cosmic energy, temporarily taking solid form. But Einstein's equation created a paradox. If mass and energy are truly equivalent, truly interchangeable, then why can't we just create matter from light? Why can't we shine a flashlight and watch particles pop into existence? The answer is, we can. We just need to do it right. And that brings us to one of the most beautiful symmetries in physics, discovered by Paul Dirac in 1928. Dirac was a British physicist, famously quiet and introverted. His colleagues joked that they measured talkativeness in units called Diracs, where 1 Dirac equaled 1 word per hour. But his mathematical equations spoke volumes. Dirac was trying to combine Einstein's theory of relativity with quantum mechanics, the weird physics that governs the subatomic world. When he solved his equations, something strange appeared. Every particle of matter had a mirror image with opposite properties. For every electron with negative charge, there existed a positron with positive charge. For every proton, an antiproton. Matter and antimatter, perfect opposites, like cosmic twins. And here's the crucial part. When matter meets antimatter, they annihilate each other completely, transforming 100% of their mass into pure energy into light. EMC in action, matter becoming photons in a flash of radiation. So the equation works backwards too. If matter plus antimatter equals light, then light should equal matter plus antimatter. The cosmic bank accepts exchanges in both directions. Think of it like ice and water. Ice seems solid, structured, different from liquid water. But they're the same substance, HO molecules just arranged differently. Add energy, heat, and ice becomes water. Remove energy, cooling, and water becomes ice. The molecules don't change their fundamental nature. They just change their form. Light and matter are similar, except instead of adding or removing heat, you're playing with the fundamental fabric of existence itself. But for decades, this remained theoretical. Sure, scientists could smash matter together and watch it become light. That happened in particle accelerators all the time. But the reverse? Creating matter from nothing but light? That seemed impossibly difficult. The problem is energy conservation and momentum. A single photon can't just spontaneously become matter, because that would violate conservation laws. The photon has energy and momentum, but no mass. An electron has mass, which means it has less energy left over for momentum if the total energy stays constant. The math doesn't work out for a solo photon. But what if you used 2 photons traveling in opposite directions? Let me paint you a picture of what happened on a day in 1997 at the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center in California. A team led by physicist Kirk McDonald was about to achieve something that had never been done before in human history. They took the most powerful laser in the world at the time and focused it down to a point smaller than the width of a human hair. Then they smashed a high-energy electron beam through it. When the electrons collided with the photons from the laser, something miraculous happened. The photons gained enough energy that when they collided with other photons, they created matter. Actual electrons and positrons materialized out of pure light. The Breet-Wheeler process, predicted theoretically in 1934 by Gregory Breet and John Wheeler, had finally been observed. 2 photons in, 2 particles out. Light became matter. right there in the laboratory. Kirk MacDonald later said in an interview, "It was like watching the universe's first moment play out in miniature. We were seeing creation itself, because that's exactly what it was. In the first moments after the Big Bang, before there were atoms, before there were stars, before there was anything solid at all, the universe was so hot and so dense that this transformation happened constantly. Photons collided and became particles. Particles annihilated and became photons. The entire cosmos was a seething foam of matter and antimatter, constantly transforming back and forth, like a cosmic soup where the ingredients couldn't decide whether to be liquid or solid. As the universe expanded and cooled, that soup settled down. Particles stopped transforming back into light quite as often. Matter won a slight victory over antimatter, for reasons we still don't fully understand, and became stable. The matter that formed then is the matter you're made of now. You are literally made of frozen light from the Big Bang, taking a 13.8 billion year detour through the form of atoms and molecules and cells. But here's where things get truly strange. That transformation I just described, it's not just ancient history. It's happening right now, in ways that will completely change how you see the world around you. Every time you turn on a light bulb, you're witnessing matter becoming light. The tungsten filament in an incandescent bulb, the phosphors in an LED, the gas in a fluorescent tube, they're all vibrating with energy. And when electrons in those materials jump from high energy states to lower energy states, they release the difference as photons. Matter is constantly leaking energy as light. And the reverse? Every time light is absorbed by matter, when sunlight warms your skin, when a solar panel generates electricity, when a plant performs photosynthesis, the light's energy is being captured and stored in matter. The light isn't becoming matter in the sense of creating new particles, but its energy is being locked into the structure of molecules, raising electrons to higher energy states, breaking chemical bonds, creating temperature differences. The energy that was racing through space at light speed is now trapped, stored, made slow, and tangible. Think of it like this. Imagine you're watching dancers at a nightclub. When they're dancing fast, spinning and leaping, they're like light, pure kinetic energy, maximum motion. But eventually, they get tired and sit down. Their kinetic energy converts to heat, to chemical changes in their muscles, to the work of breathing heavily. They're like matter now, energy stored in a stable form, no longer moving at maximum speed, but still containing all that energy, just in a different form. The universe is that nightclub, and everything in it is either dancing or resting, but it's all the same dancers, just in different states. Now here's the part that should make you pause and reconsider everything. If light can become matter, and matter can become light, what does that say about the nature of reality itself? Are you a physical object made of solid atoms, or are you a temporary pattern in the cosmic dance of energy? When you look in the mirror, are you seeing matter, or are you seeing light that's taking a break from traveling? Philosophy and physics are about to collide in a way that will melt your brain. Let's talk about what matter actually is, because I guarantee you've been thinking about it wrong your entire life. You think atoms are solid, right? Tiny little balls of stuff, packed together to make objects. But here's the truth. Atoms are almost entirely empty space. If an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be a marble at the center of the field, and the electrons would be tiny grains of sand orbiting in the upper decks. Everything in between? Absolutely nothing. Void. Emptiness. So what are you touching when you touch something? Why doesn't your hand pass through the table? The answer is, you're not actually touching anything, ever. The electrons in your hand and the electrons in the table have negative charges, and negative charges repel each other. When you touch something, you're feeling the electromagnetic force pushing back against you. It's like trying to press two magnets together with the same poles facing each other. You feel resistance, but there's no actual contact, so matter isn't solid. It's mostly empty space held together by forces. And what are those forces made of? Light. Not visible light, but photons nonetheless. The electromagnetic force that holds atoms together, that makes chemistry possible. That stops you from falling through the floor. All of it is mediated by virtual photons. These are quantum messenger particles, constantly being exchanged between charged particles, carrying the electromagnetic force between them. Think of it like two people on ice skates throwing a ball back and forth. The act of throwing and catching makes them push apart. Virtual photons are like those balls, constantly being thrown between particles, creating forces between them. But here's the weird part. These virtual photons don't exist in the normal sense. They can't be observed directly. They pop into existence just long enough to carry force between particles, then disappear again, borrowing energy from the quantum vacuum in a way that violates conservation of energy, but only for such a brief time that Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says it's okay. So the forces that make matter solid are themselves made of light borrowed, virtual, impossible light that technically shouldn't exist, but does anyway, because quantum mechanics is absolutely bonkers. Your body, the chair you're sitting on, the planet beneath your feet, all of it is held together by endless exchanges of light that exists and doesn't exist at the same time. But it gets stranger. Let's talk about mass itself. You think mass is an inherent property of matter, right? An electron has mass because it's an electron. A quark has mass because it's a quark. Mass is just a thing particles have. Wrong. In 2012, CERN in Geneva, Switzerland announced one of the most important discoveries in physics history. They'd found the Higgs boson, a particle predicted by British physicist Peter Higgs in 1964. The Higgs boson is the quantum of the Higgs field, an invisible field that permeates all of space. And here's what it does. It gives particles mass. Without the Higgs field, electrons, quarks, and all the fundamental particles would be massless, traveling at the speed of light like photons. But as they move through the Higgs field, they interact with it, and that interaction slows them down and gives them mass. It's like running through water versus running through air. The water resists you more, makes you slower, makes you feel heavier. The Higgs field does that to particles. So mass, the very property that makes matter different from light, isn't inherent to particles at all. It's an interaction, a relationship. Particles acquire mass by interacting with an omnipresent field, like flies getting caught in honey. Francois Englert, who shared the Nobel Prize with Peter Higgs for this discovery, sighed, "We've found that mass is not a property of particles, but a consequence of their existence in a universe filled with the Higgs field. In a universe without this field, there would be no matter as we know it, only light." Do you understand what this means? The fundamental difference between light and matter isn't intrinsic to the particles themselves. It's contextual. It depends on their environment, their interactions, their relationship with fields around them. You are not a collection of solid objects. You are a pattern of relationships, a symphony of interactions, a dance of fields and forces that temporarily convinces itself it's solid. And here's the philosophical bomb I'm going to drop on you. If matter is just light that's been slowed down and given mass by its interaction with fields, then what is light? Is it matter that hasn't? You are not a noun. You are a verb. Let's get practical for a moment, because I want to show you that this isn't just abstract theory. This transformation between light and matter has consequences that touch your daily life in ways you've never noticed. First, let's talk about PET scans, positron emission tomography. If you or someone you know has ever had to check for cancer, there's a good chance they had a PET scan. Here's how it works. Doctors inject you with a radioactive tracer, usually a form of glucose with a radioactive fluorine atom attached. Cancer cells consume glucose faster than normal cells, so they soak up this tracer. That radioactive fluorine atom? It's unstable. It decays, releasing a positron antimatter. That positron travels a few millimeters through your tissue until it encounters an electron nutter. They annihilate each other instantly, converting their entire mass into 2 photons of light traveling in opposite directions. The PET scanner detects these photons, traces their paths back to where they originated, and creates an image showing exactly where the cancer cells are. You are literally being illuminated from the inside by matter-to-light conversion. The annihilation of antimatter in your body is creating the light that saves lives. Every single PET scan ever performed is proof that E equals mc isn't just theory. It's medical practice. It's the reason people survive cancer diagnoses, because we can watch matter become light inside living tissue. Second example, the sun. You think the sun burns fuel like a fire burns wood, right? Not even close. Deep in the sun's core, where the temperature reaches 15 million degrees Celsius and the pressure is 340 billion times Earth's atmospheric pressure, hydrogen atoms are squeezed so violently that they fuse together into helium. 4 hydrogen nuclei combine to make 1 helium nucleus. But here's the crucial detail. The helium nucleus has slightly less mass than the 4 hydrogen nuclei that formed it. About 0.7% of the mass disappears. Where did it go? It became light, pure energy, radiating outward as photons. That missing mass was converted to the sunshine warming your face, following Einstein's equation exactly. The sun loses about 4 million tons of mass every single second, transforming it into the light and heat that makes life on Earth possible. Every time you feel warm sunlight on your skin, you're feeling matter that used to exist at the center of the sun, 93 million miles away, transformed into light, traveled 8 minutes through the void of space, and landed on you. You are being touched by transformed matter from the heart of a star. Your body contains about 140 grams of potassium, essential for nerve and muscle function. About 0.012% of that potassium is potassium-40, a radioactive isotope with a half-life of 1.25 billion years. Every second, about 4,400 atoms of potassium-40 in your body decay, releasing beta particles and gamma rays. Those gamma rays are photons light, though not visible light. Your body is constantly emitting light from radioactive decay, converting tiny amounts of matter into energy. You are literally glowing, though the light is invisible to your eyes. If someone had the right detector, they could see you shining in the dark, from the matter in your body slowly transforming into light. You are not just surrounded by the transformation of light and matter. You are the transformation. It's happening in your cells right now, as you watch this video. But here's the question that should keep you up at night. If matter can become light, and light can become matter, and you are constantly both absorbing light and emitting it, are you really the same person from one moment to the next? The atoms in your body are being replaced constantly. You get a new skeleton every 10 years, new skin every month, new stomach lining every few days. The matter that makes you you is constantly being exchanged with the environment. And on a fundamental level, that matter is exchanging with light. Energy is flowing into you from the sun, from your food, from the thermal radiation of everything around you. Energy is flowing out of you as heat, as light, as motion, as the radioactive decay of unstable isotopes. You are not a static object. You are a pattern of flow, a whirlpool in a river of energy, temporarily maintaining your shape while the substance itself constantly changes. The ancient Buddhist concept of anatman, no self, suddenly makes perfect sense. There is no permanent, unchanging self. There's only a process, a transformation, a dance of energy temporarily taking human form. Eastern philosophy and quantum physics are telling us the same thing. You are not a thing. You are an event. Now I want to take you deeper into the quantum rabbit hole, because we need to talk about what light and matter actually are at their most fundamental level. You learned about the wave-particle duality, right? Light behaves as both a wave and a particle. Sometimes it acts like a wave, spreading out, interfering with itself, creating diffraction patterns. Other times it acts like a particle of photon, hitting a detector at a specific location with specific energy. But here's what they don't teach you in school. It's not that light sometimes acts like a wave and sometimes acts like a particle. It's that light is neither a wave nor a particle. Those are just models, metaphors we use because our brains evolved to understand objects and motions in the everyday world, not the quantum realm. The same is true for matter. Electrons aren't tiny billiard balls orbiting a nucleus. They're quantum entities too. They have wave-like properties. An electron doesn't have a specific location until you measure it instead. It exists as a probability cloud smeared out over space, existing everywhere it could possibly be all at once, until observation collapses that cloud into a definite position. So here's the philosophical earthquake. If light isn't really a wave or a particle, and matter isn't really a particle, but also has wave properties, what's the actual difference between them? The difference is subtle and mathematical. Both light and matter are described by quantum wave functions, but matter has mass, thanks to the Higgs field, remember, while light is massless. Matter moves slower than the speed of light. Light always moves at the speed of light. Matter can be at rest, light cannot. But fundamentally, they're both quantum fields vibrating through space, creating what we perceive as particles. Think of it like this. Imagine the entire universe is the surface of a pond. Everything that exists, light, matter, forces, all of it is ripples on that pond. Some ripples are fast and carry no weight, that's light. Some ripples are slower and carry something we call mass. That's matter. But they're all just ripples, just waves in the quantum field. This idea, called quantum field theory, was developed in the 1940s and 50s by physicists like Richard Feynman, Julian Schwinger, and Shinichiro Tominaga, who shared the Nobel Prize in 1965 for working out the mathematics. In this view, there are no particles at all. There are only fields, the electromagnetic field, the electron field, the quark field, and so on, filling all of space. And what we call particles are just localized vibrations in those fields, like notes on a cosmic piano. A photon is a ripple in the electromagnetic field. An electron is a ripple in the electron field. When light becomes matter, what's really happening is energy is transferring from one field to another. The electromagnetic field loses a vibration, and the electron field gains one. The total energy stays constant, but it moves between fields, changing form. So E equals mc isn't really about matter becoming light. It's about energy changing which field it's vibrating in. And here's where your mind should start melting. If everything is just vibrations in fields, what makes you different from the air around you? What makes you separate from the table you're leaning on, the floor beneath you, the planet you're standing on? The answer is nothing fundamental. You're a particularly complex pattern of vibrations, a knot in the quantum fields that's maintained its structure for a while. But there's no hard boundary between you and the rest of the universe. You're not separate from reality. You're a temporary wrinkle in its surface. The poet Rumi wrote 700 years ago, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." He was describing enlightenment, but he was also describing quantum field theory. You are not a small thing in a big universe. You are the universe, locally organized into a pattern that can look at itself and ask questions. Every boundary you think exists between light and matter, between you and the world, between existence and non-existence, is just a convenient fiction, a story your brain tells itself to make sense of the continuous, boundaryless reality beneath. Let me tell you about one of the most beautiful experiments in physics, because it shows just how blurry the line between light and matter really is. In 1923, a French physics student named Louis de Broglie submitted his doctoral thesis with a radical idea. If light can behave like particles, photons, then maybe particles can behave like waves. He proposed that every particle of matter has an associated wavelength, inversely proportional to its momentum. Electrons should create interference patterns just like light does. His thesis committee thought he was crazy. They almost failed him. But then Einstein read the thesis and said, essentially, wait, this kid might be onto something. 5 years later, de Broglie won the Nobel Prize because experiments proved him right. In 1927, Clinton Davison and Lester Germer at Bell Labs fired electrons at a nickel crystal and watched the results. If electrons were particles, little balls of matter, they should scatter randomly. But they didn't. They created an interference pattern, just like light waves do when they pass through a diffraction grating. The electrons were behaving like waves. Then in 1961, Claus Johnson performed an experiment that should be impossible, the double-slit experiment with electrons. You've probably heard of the double-slit experiment with light shine light through two narrow slits, and you get an interference pattern on the screen behind, proof that light is a wave. But Johnson did it with electrons, particles of matter, and got the same result. The electrons interfered with themselves, creating a wave pattern. But here's the part that breaks your brain. When they fired electrons one at a time, each electron still contributed to the interference pattern. Each individual electron somehow knew about both slits, even though it was a single particle. It was as if each electron passed through both slits at once, interfering with itself. How can a single particle go through two places at once? The answer is, it doesn't, because it's not a particle. It's a quantum entity, a wave in the electron field, and waves can absolutely pass through multiple slits simultaneously and interfere with themselves on the other side. Matter is not made of tiny solid objects. It's made of waves smeared out through space, existing in multiple places at once until you force it to reveal a position by measuring it. And light? Light is also waves, but massless ones, always moving at cosmic speed. So the distinction between light and matter isn't particle versus wave. Both are waves. The distinction is just in the properties of those waves: mass, speed, charge, spin. But fundamentally, they're the same kind of thing. Think of it like this. Imagine sound waves and water waves. They're both waves, but sound is a vibration in air molecules, while water waves are ripples on a liquid surface. They have different properties, different speeds, different behaviors. But they're both fundamentally waves, patterns of energy moving through a medium. Light and matter are like that. They're different types of waves in the quantum field, with different properties, but both fundamentally waves. And just like you can transfer energy from sound waves to water waves, imagine yelling at water and watching it vibrate. You can transfer energy between the electromagnetic field, light, and matter fields, particles. That transfer is what we call light becoming matter, and matter becoming light. But really, it's just energy changing form, shifting from one kind of wave to another. And here's the thing that should absolutely blow your mind. If electrons can create interference patterns like waves, what happens when you try to observe which slit the electron goes through? The answer is, the interference pattern disappears. When you measure which path the electron takes, it suddenly decides to behave like a particle, going through one slit or the other. The wave function collapses from a spread-out probability into a definite location. The act of observation changes the behavior of the system. This is the famous observer effect in quantum mechanics, and it suggests something profoundly disturbing. Reality at the quantum level doesn't exist in a definite state until it's observed. Before measurement, particles exist in superposition, being in multiple states at once. The act of looking forces them to choose. Niels Bohr, one of the founders of quantum mechanics, said, "If quantum mechanics hasn't profoundly shocked you, you haven't understood it yet." He also said, "There is no quantum world. There is only an abstract quantum description." It is wrong to think that the task of physics is to find out how nature is. Physics concerns what we can say about nature. What he meant is, at the quantum level, we can't talk about what's really there, independent of observation. We can only talk about what happens when we look. Reality doesn't exist as definite until it's observed. And if that's true for electrons, and electrons are what make up atoms, and atoms are what make up everything including you, then what does that say about your reality? Are you a definite object, or are you a quantum superposition that only seems definite because you're constantly observing yourself? This is not philosophy anymore. This is the direct implication of experimental physics. Let's talk about antimatter, because this is where the symmetry between light and matter becomes absolutely perfect and absolutely terrifying. Paul Dirac's equations, the ones that predicted antimatter in 1928, showed something remarkable. For every particle of matter, there must exist an antiparticle with opposite charge but identical mass, electron and positron, proton and antiproton, quark and antiquark. And when matter meets antimatter, they annihilate completely, converting 100% of their combined mass into light, usually in the form of gamma rays. This is the most efficient energy conversion process in the universe. Nuclear fusion, which powers the sun, converts about 0.7% of mass into energy. Matter-antimatter annihilation converts 100%. If you could annihilate just 1 gram of matter with 1 gram of antimatter, you'd release the energy equivalent of 43 kilotons of Tn-3 times the Hiroshima bomb. The reverse is also true. If you have enough energy, photons can spontaneously create matter-antimatter pairs. 2 high-energy photons collide, and poof, an electron and a positron appear. This is the Breet-Wheeler process I mentioned earlier, and it's the universe's way of maintaining perfect symmetry. Matter cannot be created from nothing, but it can be created from light, as long as you create equal amounts of matter and antimatter. So here's the cosmic mystery. In the early universe, right after the Big Bang, the universe was hot enough and dense enough that this process happened constantly. Photons created matter-antimatter pairs. Those pairs annihilated back into photons. The universe was in perfect balance, equal parts matter and antimatter, transforming back and forth. But then something broke the symmetry. Somehow, for every billion antimatter particles, there were 1,000,000,001 matter particles. At extra 1 particle of matter per billion survived. And matter and antimatter annihilated each other, filling the universe with light. That's the cosmic microwave background radiation we can still detect today, the afterglow of the Big Bang. But that 1 in a billion excess of matter remained. That excess is everything. Every star, every planet, every galaxy, every atom in your body exists because of a tiny asymmetry in the early universe that we still don't fully understand. Andrei Sakharov, the Soviet physicist who later became a human rights activist and won the Nobel Peace Prize, proposed conditions necessary for this asymmetry to develop. There must be processes that violate charge conservation, processes that violate matter-antimatter symmetry, and the universe must have been out of thermal equilibrium during this period. But we still don't know exactly what caused it. The existence of matter, your existence, is a cosmic accident, a tiny imbalance in the transformation between light and matter that happened in the first microseconds after the Big Bang. And here's the truly humbling part. If that asymmetry had been even slightly different, we wouldn't exist. If the ratio had been 1 in a million instead of 1 in a billion, the universe would have collapsed back on itself before stars could form. If the ratio had been 1 in a trillion, the universe would have expanded so fast that galaxies could never have formed. We exist in an incredibly narrow window where the matter-antimatter asymmetry was just right. Think of it like this. The universe is a vast cosmic lottery, and every possible configuration of physical laws and initial conditions is a ticket. We happen to exist in the one ticket where conscious beings can evolve to contemplate their own existence. Not because the lottery was rigged for us, but because in all the infinite tickets, there must be at least a few where observers exist, and we're necessarily in one of those. This is called the anthropic principle, and it's either deeply profound or utterly trivial, depending on your philosophical perspective. But either way, it means this: you are made of frozen light from the Big Bang, belonging to the matter side of a symmetry-breaking event that happened 13.8 billion years ago, surviving because of a 1 in a billion cosmic accident. Your existence is ridiculously, almost impossibly improbable. And yet here you are, watching a video about how improbable you are. If that doesn't give you a sense of existential awe, I don't know what will. Now, I need to tell you about something called virtual particles, because this is where the transformation between light and matter gets so weird that it defies common sense entirely. Quantum mechanics includes something called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, formulated by Werner Heisenberg in 1927. It says that certain pairs of properties, like position and momentum, or energy and time, cannot both be precisely known. The more accurately you know one, the less accurately you can know the other. This isn't about measurement error. It's fundamental. Reality itself is uncertain. One consequence of this principle is that energy can spontaneously appear out of nothing as long as it disappears again quickly enough. The amount of time the energy can exist is inversely proportional to the amount of energy. Borrow a huge amount of energy, and you have to pay it back almost instantly. Borrow a tiny amount, and you can keep it a bit longer. This means that empty space, the vacuum, is not actually empty. It's seething with virtual particles, constantly popping into existence and disappearing again. Particle-antiparticle pairs materialize from nothing, exist for a fleeting moment, borrowing energy from the quantum vacuum, then annihilate each other and disappear, paying the energy back. These particles are called virtual because they can't be directly observed. They exist for too short a time, violating energy conservation. But that's okay, because they disappear before the universe has time to notice the violation. They're like cosmic bookkeeping errors that get corrected so fast they technically never happened. But here's the mind-blowing part. These virtual particles have real, measurable effects. In 1948, Dutch physicist Hendrik Casimir predicted that if you place two metal plates very close together in a vacuum, the virtual particles between the plates would create a force pushing the plates together. Why? Because the space between the plates is too small for certain wavelengths of virtual particles to exist, but outside the plates, all wavelengths are allowed. This creates a pressure difference. More virtual particles pushing from outside than inside, and the plates are forced together. This is called the Casimir effect, and it was experimentally confirmed in 1997. Empty space pure vacuum creates measurable force because of particles that don't technically exist. You are surrounded by light and matter that exists and doesn't exist, popping in and out of reality trillions of times per second. The vacuum around you is a bubbling quantum foam of creation and destruction, matter and antimatter materializing from light that borrows its energy from nothing, existing in defiance of conservation laws for just long enough to affect the real world, then vanishing again. Think of it like this. Imagine your bank account. Usually, you can't spend money you don't have. But what if there was a rule that said you could go into debt for a fraction of a second, as long as you deposited enough money to cover it before the bank's computer updated? You could temporarily borrow money, use it, and pay it back so fast the system never registers the theft. Virtual particles are doing that with energy, constantly, everywhere. And here's where it gets truly bizarre. These virtual particles are mostly photons' virtual light, and they're what carries forces between particles of matter. Remember when I said the electromagnetic force is mediated by photons? Those are virtual photons, impossible particles that exist just long enough to tell an electron to push away from another electron, then disappear. The force is holding you together, holding matter together, making chemistry possible. All of it depends on light that doesn't exist, borrowed from nothing, used for communication between particles, then paid back instantly. So when I asked earlier whether light and matter are really different, the answer is getting even more complicated. They're constantly transforming into each other. Yes, but they're also constantly popping into and out of existence, borrowing energy from nothing, existing in superposition, and only becoming real when observed. Reality is not made of solid, definite things. It's made of probabilities, possibilities, and quantum bookkeeping tricks that technically shouldn't work, but do anyway. Stephen Hawking, in his work on black holes, realized that virtual particles near the event horizon of a black hole can become real. If a particle-antiparticle pair forms right at the edge of the black hole, one particle might fall in while the other escapes. The escaping particle becomes real, carrying away energy, making the black hole slowly evaporate. This is called Hawking radiation, and it means black holes aren't actually black. They glow with the light of virtual particles, becoming real particles at their edges. The universe is converting nothing into light and matter at the edges of black holes, slowly dissolving the most massive objects in the cosmos into radiation. And if black holes evaporate, and the universe keeps expanding, eventually all matter will either fall into black holes or drift apart into isolated particles in an ever-expanding void. The black holes will evaporate. The particles will decay. In the far, far future trillions, upon trillions of years from now, there will be nothing left but light, spreading out across infinite space, growing colder and dimmer until the universe is just a thin, cold glow of photons that will never interact with anything again. Matter came from light after the Big Bang, and matter will return to light at the end of time. The universe begins with light, briefly forms matter, then returns to light again. Existence itself is just a temporary departure from the eternal photon sea. You are a brief solid moment in an eternal flow of light. Let me bring this back down to Earth for a moment, because I want you to understand how this transformation shapes the world you experience every single day. You see colors, right? Red roses, blue sky, green grass. You think color is a property of objects, but it's not. Color is light-specific wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation that objects reflect while absorbing other wavelengths. A rose looks red because its petals contain molecules anthocyanins that absorb blue and green light, but reflect red light. The light hits the flower. Some wavelengths get absorbed, their energy converted into molecular vibrations, heat, chemical changes, and the red light bounces off and enters your eye. But here's the crucial part. That absorption process? That's light becoming matter. Well, not new matter particles, but light's energy being captured and stored in matter structure. The absorbed photons excite electrons in the flower's molecules to higher energy states. The energy that was traveling at light speed is now locked into the quantum state of an electron orbital, no longer moving, stored. That electron will eventually drop back down to a lower energy state, releasing a photon again, though usually as infrared heat rather than visible light. The energy cycles: light to excited matter back to light, over and over. Every color you've ever seen is matter choosing which light to absorb and which to reflect. You're seeing matter's preferences, matter's interaction with the electromagnetic field. And your eyes? They work by the reverse process. Photons enter your eye and hit the retina, where they're absorbed by molecules called rhodopsin in your rod and cone cells. The energy from the photon causes the rhodopsin molecule to change shape, literally twist and bend. That shape change triggers a cascade of chemical reactions that eventually create an electrical signal sent to your brain. Vision is light becoming molecular motion, becoming chemical changes, becoming electrical signals, becoming your conscious experience of sight. You are not passively receiving light. You are actively transforming it, converting it into the structure and signals of your nervous system. You are the transformation between light and matter, happening in real time. Let's talk about another daily example. Your phone screen. If you're watching this on a phone or computer, you're looking at pixels tiny LEDs that emit light. Those LEDs work by electroluminescence. Electricity excites electrons in a semiconductor material to higher energy states, and when they drop back down, they release photons. Matter gaining energy, then releasing it as light. But it's more controlled than that. In an LED, electrons and holes, places where electrons are missing, are pushed together in a semiconductor junction. When they meet, they annihilate, not matter and antimatter annihilation, but electron-hole recombination. The electron drops into the hole, releasing its excess energy as a photon, with a color determined by the material's properties. Blue LEDs use gallium nitride. Red LEDs use aluminum gallium arsenide. The energy gap between electron states determines the photon's wavelength, which determines the color you see. The screen you're looking at right now is converting electrical energy into excited matter, then converting that excited matter into light, thousands of times per second, creating the image you're watching. Matter is becoming light in your hand right now, choreographed by the ones and zeros of digital information. Even something as simple as cooking food is a transformation of light and energy. When you heat a pan, you're adding kinetic energy to the atoms in the metal. Those atoms vibrate faster. Some electrons get excited to higher energy states. They release photons, the red or orange glow of hot metal. Matter becoming light because you made it too energetic to stay dark. And the food cooking? The heat energy breaks chemical bonds, rearranges molecules, changes the structure of proteins and carbohydrates. Energy flowing in, captured by matter, transforming matter's structure. Then when you eat that food, your body breaks it down further, extracting the stored energy, converting it into a TP, the molecular energy currency of life, which powers every movement you make, every thought you think. You are an engine converting captured light from the sun, stored in plants, eaten by you or by animals you eat, into the structure and motion of a conscious being. Think about that chain. Sunlight hits a plant. Photosynthesis captures that light's energy, using it to split water molecules and fix carbon dioxide into glucose. The plant is converting light into matter literally, building solid plant structure from air and water, using light as the energy source. You eat the plant, or eat an animal that ate the plant. You digest it, break it down, extract the energy, and use it to move, think, leave. The energy flows, star to light, light to plant matter to your matter converting chemical energy into motion and thought. You are animated by starlight. Your consciousness is powered by the same nuclear fusion reactions that happen in the sun's core, converted through several steps from light to matter to life. And when you die, the matter of your body will decompose, release energy as heat, as motion of bacteria and fungi, as chemical changes. Eventually, those atoms will scatter, join other processes, other cycles. Some might be burned and release light. Some might be eaten and power other life. Some might sit in the ground for millions of years, get compressed into fossil fuels, and eventually be burned to release light and heat once more. You are not separate from the cosmic cycle of transformation. You are a temporary knot in it, a pattern that maintains itself for a while, then dissolves back into the flow. The Native American saying goes, "We are not inheriting the earth from our ancestors. We are borrowing it from our children." But it goes deeper than that. You're not even borrowing atoms. You're borrowing organization, pattern, structure. The atoms themselves are temporary, constantly being exchanged with the environment. What persists is the pattern, the information, the arrangement that creates the appearance of a continuous self. You are a wave passing through matter, like sound passing through air. The air molecules don't travel with the sound wave, they just vibrate in place, passing the pattern along. Similarly, atoms flow through you, but the pattern of your organization persists, creating the illusion of a permanent self. And that pattern is maintained by constant transformation between light and matter, energy and structure, motion and stability. Now we need to talk about quantum entanglement, because this is where the transformation between light and matter reveals something absolutely profound about the nature of reality itself. In 1935, Einstein, along with Boris Podolsky and Nathan Rosen, published a paper describing what they thought was a fatal flaw in quantum mechanics. They described a situation where two particles could be entangled, linked in such a way that measuring one instantly affects the other, even if they're separated by vast distances. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance and thought it proved quantum mechanics was incomplete. He was wrong. Quantum entanglement is real, has been experimentally verified thousands of times, and in 2022, the Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Alain Aspect, John Clauser, and Anton Zeilinger for their work confirming it. Here's how it works. When two particles are created together, say, a photon pair created when a high-energy photon passes through a special crystal and splits into two lower-energy photons, they can become entangled. Their properties become correlated in a way that transcends classical physics. If you measure the polarization of one photon and find it's vertical, the other photon's polarization will instantly become horizontal, no matter how far apart they are. Measure one in New York, the other in Tokyo, and the correlation is instantaneous. Not limited by the speed of light, instantaneous. This doesn't allow faster-than-light communication. The universe has safeguards preventing that, but it reveals something deeply weird. The two photons aren't really separate. They're parts of a single quantum system, a unified whole that only appears to be two particles when you look at it. Think of it like this. Imagine two coins that are entangled. When you flip one and it lands heads, the other instantly becomes tails, no matter where it is. But before you flip them, neither coin is heads or tails, they're in superposition, both at once. The act of measuring forces them to choose, and the choice is coordinated across space. But here's where light and matter come together in a beautiful way. Entanglement isn't just for photons. Electrons can be entangled. Atoms can be entangled. In 2017, Chinese scientists entangled photons and sent them to a satellite in orbit, then down to ground stations 1,200 kilometers apart, proving that entanglement works even across vast distances. And here's the profound part. When light becomes matter through the Breit-Wheeler process or pair production, the created particles are entangled. The electron and positron created from photons are linked. If you measure one's spin as up, the other must be down. They're created as a single system, even though they appear as separate particles. So the transformation between light and matter isn't just about energy conversion. It's about the creation and dissolution of quantum relationships, the weaving and unweaving of the fabric of entanglement that connects everything in the universe. And everything in the universe is connected. Every particle that has ever interacted is, in principle, entangled with every other particle. You are quantum mechanically linked to everything you've ever touched, every photon that's ever hit your eyes, every atom that's ever been part of your body. Leonard Susskind, a theoretical physicist at Stanford, describes this beautifully. The laws of physics don't allow perfect isolation. Everything is connected to everything else through an incomprehensibly complex web of quantum correlations. You think you're an isolated individual, a separate being in a world of other separate beings. But at the quantum level, that separation is an illusion. You are entangled with the universe. Your quantum state is correlated with the quantum states of countless other particles across space and time. And when photons in your eyes absorb light and create the electrical signals that become your vision, those photons were entangled with the atoms in the sun that emitted them 8 minutes ago. You are quantum mechanically linked to the sun right now through the photons connecting you. Every star you've ever looked at has sent you photons, and absorbing those photons has entangled you with those stars. You are literally connected to distant galaxies. Your quantum state correlated with light that traveled for millions or billions of years to reach your eyes. The poet William Blake wrote, "To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour." He was describing mystical vision, but he was also describing quantum entanglement. Everything contains everything else. Every part is connected to the whole. And the mechanism of that connection? Light, photons, traveling from place to place, interacting with matter, creating entanglement, weaving the universe into a single, unified quantum state. The transformation between light and matter isn't just a physical process. It's the mechanism by which the universe knows itself, connects to itself, becomes aware of itself through beings like you. Let's talk about consciousness, because we've arrived at the place where physics and philosophy collide so violently that neither will ever be the same. You are conscious. You have subjective experience. There is something it is like to be you. The redness of red, the painfulness of pain, the thought of thoughts. Philosophers call this qualia, the raw feel of experience. But here's the problem. Physics, in all its mathematical glory, has no place for consciousness. Nowhere in the equations describing light and matter, forces and fields, is there a term for awareness or experience. You can describe the entire process of light entering your eye, exciting rhodopsin molecules, creating electrical signals, triggering neural activity in your brain, all without ever mentioning the fact that you consciously see. The hard problem of consciousness, identified by philosopher David Chalmers in 1995, asks, why is there subjective experience at all? Why doesn't all this complex information processing happen in the dark, unconsciously? Why is there an inner light of awareness? Some physicists and philosophers have suggested something radical. Consciousness might be fundamental, like mass or charge or spin. It might be a basic property of the universe, present at every level, and what we experience as human consciousness is just a complex organization of something that exists even in simple systems. This view is called panpsychism, and before you dismiss it as crazy, consider. We already know that matter and light are the same thing in different forms. We know that particles exist in superposition until observed. We know that entanglement links everything across space. Is it really so strange to suggest that consciousness experience might also be woven into the fabric of reality? Roger Penrose, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist, and Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist, have proposed that consciousness arises from quantum processes in microtubules inside neurons. They suggest that consciousness is a quantum phenomenon involving the same wave function collapse that happens when you measure a particle's position or momentum. Their theory is controversial and unproven, but here's why it's relevant. If consciousness involves quantum processes, and quantum processes include the transformation between light and matter, then your consciousness might literally depend on that transformation. Your awareness might be, in part, the result of matter and energy changing forms inside your brain. Think about it. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy, burning glucose, creating heat, generating electrical activity. Neurons are constantly firing, creating electromagnetic fields, releasing photons, not visible light, but infrared and even some biophotons in the visible spectrum. Your thinking creates light. Your consciousness produces photons. And when you perceive light, when you see, You're converting photons into neural activity, into thoughts, into conscious experience. Light becomes the experience of seeing light. The transformation comes full circle. Light to matter, to neural activity, to conscious experience of light. You are the universe observing itself through the transformation of light into matter, into awareness. Carl Sagan famously said, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." He meant it poetically, but it's literally true. You are made of matter that came from light, that came from the Big Bang. That matter has organized itself into structures complex enough to be aware, to think, to wonder about their own existence. The universe has created, through you, a way to look at itself and ask, "What am I?" And the answer is, you're a transformation, a process, a pattern of energy temporarily maintaining coherence, aware of its own existence, able to contemplate the cosmic dance of which you're a part. But here's the thing that should humble you and elevate you simultaneously. You're not special. Everything is doing this. Every atom is participating in the transformation between fields. Every photon is carrying information across space. Every particle is entangled with countless others. You're just complex enough to notice it happening. You're just organized enough to wonder about it. But the fundamental process, the transformation, the connection, the dance, that's everywhere. That's everything. Your consciousness isn't separate from the physical world. It's a property of it, an aspect of the transformation between light and matter, a high-level pattern emerging from quantum processes. And if that's true, then death isn't the end of you. Not really. The pattern that is, you will dissolve, yes. The particular organization of atoms that create your thoughts and memories will come apart, but the atoms themselves don't vanish. The energy doesn't disappear. It transforms. Your matter will return to the earth, where it will be used by other organisms, other processes. The energy that powered your thoughts will dissipate as heat, as motion, eventually as light. You will be scattered across the transformation, your atoms joining the cosmic cycle, your energy rejoining the flow. And if consciousness is fundamental, if awareness is a property of matter itself, then in some sense, you never stop experiencing. You just stop experiencing as a unified self. You dissolve into the billion separate experiences of the billion atoms that once made you, each continuing their participation in the universal transformation. You came from stars, organized briefly into a pattern that could think, and you will return to the cosmos, scattered but never destroyed, transformed but never ending. The first law of thermodynamics says energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed in form. If consciousness is a form of energy, an aspect of the transformation, then perhaps the same is true. You cannot be destroyed. You can only change form. We're approaching the end of our journey, and I want to bring everything together by talking about time, because the transformation between light and matter reveals something profound about the nature of past, present, and future. Light travels at the cosmic speed limit, 299,792,458 meters per second in a vacuum. Nothing with mass can reach that speed. But here's the weird part. From light's perspective, time doesn't pass. Einstein's theory of special relativity tells us that time slows down as you approach the speed of light. At 50% light speed, time passes about 87% as fast for you as for someone standing still. At 99% light speed, time passes only 14% as fast. And at exactly light speed, time stops completely. For a photon traveling from the sun to Earth, no time passes. From the photon's perspective, it's emitted and absorbed simultaneously. The 8-minute journey we observe is, for the photon, instantaneous. Think about what this means. Light exists outside of time. When a photon is emitted from a star a billion light years away and absorbed by your eye tonight, from your perspective, a billion years passed. From the photon's perspective, no time passed at all. Emission and absorption are the same event. Light connects the past and present without experiencing the passage of time between them. Light is the bridge across time, the eternal present connecting all moments. But matter experiences time. Particles with mass move slower than light, and for them, time passes. The transformation from light to matter is, in a sense, the creation of time itself. When light becomes matter, it enters the flow of time. When matter becomes light, it exits time again. You are made of matter, so you experience time. You age. You change. You move from past to future along the inexorable arrow of entropy. But the light that sustains you, the photons constantly hitting your skin, entering your eyes, maintaining your body temperature, that light is timeless. The mystics and meditation masters talk about living in the eternal now, transcending the illusion of past and future. They're describing a psychological state, but they're also touching on something physically real. Light lives in the eternal now. Matter creates the experience of past and future. You are the bridge between timelessness and time, between the eternal and the temporary, between light's now and matter's flow. And here's another thought that will break your brain. Causality, the idea that causes precede effects, depends on the speed of light. Events that are separated by distances greater than light could travel in the time between them and not influence each other. They're causally disconnected. But quantum entanglement seems to violate this. When you measure one entangled particle, the other knows instantly, faster than light. So is causality preserved? The answer is subtle. Entanglement doesn't allow you to send information faster than light. You can't use it to communicate. But it does reveal that the universe isn't local things that seem separate, are fundamentally connected in ways that transcend space and time. The physicist John Wheeler, who coined the term black hole, proposed a thought experiment called the delayed choice experiment. You can decide, after a photon has already passed through a double-slit apparatus, whether to measure which slit it went through or let it create an interference pattern. Your choice now affects the photon's behavior in the past. This has been experimentally confirmed. The past isn't fixed. Observations in the present can affect the state of particles in the past. Causality is stranger than we thought. Time is stranger than we thought. The transformation between light and matter isn't just happening across space, it's happening across time, linking past and future in ways we're only beginning to understand. And you, sitting here watching this, are participating in that transformation. The light from your screen is entering your eyes right now, creating memories that will affect your future decisions, which might affect the photons you emit or absorb later, which might. The web of causality is so complex, so interconnected, that it defies linear description. You are not a point moving through time. You are a pattern smeared across space-time, connected to your past and future selves by the continuous transformation of light and matter flowing through you. The Buddha said, "All is flux, nothing stays still." Heraclitus said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man." They were describing impermanence, the constant change of reality. They were describing the transformation between light and matter, the endless dance of becoming, the universe reinventing itself moment by moment through the conversion of energy from one form to another. You are not a static thing. You are a dynamic process, a transformation in progress, a wave of change passing through the cosmic ocean. Let's talk about what all this means for your life, for how you should think about yourself and your place in the universe. If you're made of light that temporarily became matter, if your atoms are just frozen energy from the Big Bang, if your consciousness is the universe observing itself, if you're entangled with everything you've ever touched, if you exist outside time from certain perspectives, what does that mean for how you live? First, it means you're not separate from nature. You don't live in the environment like a marble in a box. You are the environment, temporarily organized into a form that thinks it's separate. The oxygen you breathe was exhaled by trees. The carbon in your cells was forged in dying stars. The water in your body has been through countless other bodies before yours. You are deeply, fundamentally interconnected with everything. The illusion of separation causes suffering. When you think you're isolated, you feel alone, threatened, defensive. But when you realize you're a pattern in the cosmic web, temporarily distinct, but never separate, that fear dissolves. You can't be threatened by something you're part of. Second, it means your actions ripple outward in ways you can't imagine. Every photon you emit as body heat, as light reflected off your skin, as the glow of screens you interact with, carries information about you into the universe, potentially forever. Those photons might someday enter someone else's eyes, affect their decisions, change the course of events. You are constantly broadcasting yourself into the universe through light. You are constantly receiving the broadcasts of everything else through the light entering your senses. You are in constant communication with everything, whether you realize it or not. Third, it means transformation is your nature. You are not a fixed self that needs to be preserved unchanged. You are a process of constant change, constant transformation, constant exchange with the environment. Resisting change is resisting your own nature. The ancient Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is transformation. Life is opinion." He meant that reality is constantly changing, and suffering comes from our opinions about those changes, our resistance to the natural flow. He was right in ways the ancient Stoics couldn't have imagined. You are literally transformation embodied. Fighting change is fighting physics itself. Fourth, it means your consciousness is precious and rare and important. The universe spent 13.8 billion years organizing matter into structures complex enough to be aware of their own existence. Stars had to die to create the heavy elements in your body. Planets had to form. Life had to evolve for billions of years to create brains sophisticated enough for conscious thought. You are the universe's way of knowing itself, and that's not a common thing. As far as we know, consciousness is rare, maybe only on Earth, maybe scattered across the cosmos, but certainly not everywhere. You are a brief candle of awareness in a vast darkness, and that makes you valuable beyond measure. But fifth, and perhaps most importantly, it means you're temporary, and that's okay. The pattern that is you will dissolve. The transformation will continue without you. And that's not a tragedy. It's just the nature of things. You were never meant to last forever in your current form. You're a wave that will eventually dissipate back into the ocean. But the ocean continues. The transformation continues. The cosmic dance goes on. And in a sense, you never truly end, you just change form, like light becoming matter, becoming light again. The fear of death comes from thinking you're a permanent thing that will be destroyed. But you're not a thing at all. You're a process, and processes don't end, they transform. They become something else. When you die, your matter will nourish other life. Your energy will dissipate into the environment. Your atoms will scatter and join new forms, new patterns, new expressions of existence. You will return to the cosmic cycle from which you briefly emerged. And if consciousness is fundamental, if awareness is woven into the fabric of reality itself, then you don't stop experience, you stop experiencing as a unified self. You return to the distributed awareness of the universe, the dim background hum of existence that permeates everything. You came from light. You are temporarily matter. You will become light again. And that's beautiful. The Tibetan Buddhists have a practice called Phawa, consciousness transference at death, where they visualize consciousness dissolving through stages, eventually merging with the clear light of ultimate reality. They're describing the transformation we've been discussing, the return to light, the dissolution of the temporary pattern back into the eternal flow. Different religious traditions describe this in different ways: returning to God, merging with Brahman, becoming one with the Tao, entering nirvana, but they're all pointing at the same truth. You are temporarily individual, but fundamentally unified with everything. And science is now confirming what mystics have said for millennia. Separation is an illusion. Transformation is constant, and consciousness is not separate from the physical universe, but an intrinsic part of it. You are light that learned to think. And one day, you'll forget how to think and remember how to be light again. Before we finish, I want to leave you with one final mind-bending thought, something that ties together everything we've discussed and points toward mysteries we've barely begun to explore. In quantum field theory, the vacuum-empty space isn't empty. It's a seething foam of virtual particles, as we discussed. But there's something even stranger. The vacuum has energy. Empty space itself contains energy, even when there's nothing in it. This is called vacuum energy, or zero-point energy, and it's a consequence of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Even at absolute zero temperature, quantum fields fluctuate, creating this baseline energy that permeates all of space. How much energy? Theoretical calculations suggest it should be enormous joules per cubic meter, give or take. But observations of the universe's expansion rate suggest the actual vacuum energy is about 109 joules per cubic meter. That's a discrepancy of 122 orders of magnitude, the worst prediction in the history of physics. We have no idea why these numbers are so different. We don't understand vacuum energy, but we know it exists because it's causing the universe to accelerate in its expansion. This is called dark energy, and it makes up about 68% of all the energy in the universe. So here's the final revelation. Most of the universe is made of something we don't understand, dark energy, which might be related to the quantum fluctuations of empty space, which involves virtual particles constantly transforming between existence and non-existence, borrowing energy from nothing, creating the forces that hold matter together. The transformation between light and matter that we've been discussing, it's only a small part of a much larger mystery. There's something else out there, some form of energy or field that dominates the cosmos, and we've barely begun to understand it. You are made of atoms, which are made of quarks and electrons, which are ripples in quantum fields, held together by virtual photons, existing in a universe filled with dark energy we don't understand, connected by entanglement to everything you've ever touched, experiencing time because you have mass, conscious for reasons we can't fully explain. You are a mystery wrapped in an enigma, made of matter that's really light, experiencing a reality that's mostly invisible, connected to everything while feeling alone, temporary while being eternal, individual while being unified. And that's the most beautiful thing of all. We don't have all the answers. The universe is still surprising us. Reality is stranger than we imagine, and probably stranger than we can imagine. The transformation between light and matter that we've explored for the past 3 hours, it's just the beginning. There are deeper mysteries, more profound transformations, aspects of reality we haven't even glimpsed yet. And you, right now, in this moment, are participating in those mysteries. You are the universe exploring itself, consciousness investigating its own nature, matter wondering about its origin as light. Every question you ask, every thought you think, every moment of wonder you experience, that's the universe coming to know itself, one conscious being at a time. So don't think of yourself as small or insignificant. You are the cosmos in miniature, a holographic fragment containing the whole, a temporary eddy in the river of transformation that is reality itself. The ancient Greek aphorism, inscribed on the temple of Apollo at Delphi, sighed, "Know thyself." But knowing yourself means knowing the universe, because you are the universe, temporarily organized into human form. When you look into the mirror, you're not just seeing a person. You're seeing 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution. Matter that came from light, that came from the Big Bang, atoms forged in dying stars, consciousness emerging from complexity, the universe looking at itself and asking, "What am I?" And the answer, which we've explored from every angle over the past 3 hours, is you are transformation itself. You are light becoming matter, becoming consciousness, becoming the question, what am I? You are the answer and the question, the observer and the observed, the light and the matter, the temporary and the eternal, all at once. And that, more than anything else, is what it means to be human, to be the place where the universe wakes up and notices its own existence, if only for a brief, beautiful moment. We've traveled together through quantum mechanics, relativity, consciousness, time, and the fundamental nature of reality. We've seen how light becomes matter through pair production and the Breet-Wheeler process. We've explored how matter becomes light through annihilation and radioactive decay. We've discovered that the boundary between them is fluid, that they're really the same thing in different forms, and that you are made of their constant transformation. We've learned about Einstein and his equation E equals mc, about Dirac and antimatter, about the Stanford experiment that created matter from pure light, about Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and virtual particles, about entanglement connecting everything across space, about consciousness as possibly fundamental to reality. We've seen how this transformation happens in your body through PET scans and radioactive decay, in the sun through nuclear fusion, in your eyes through photoreception, in every color you see and every LED screen you use. We've confronted the philosophical implications that you're not separate from the universe, that transformation is your nature, that death is just another transformation in an endless cycle, that consciousness might be the universe observing itself. And we've acknowledged the mysteries that remain: dark energy, the origin of consciousness, the nature of time, the reason for matter-antimatter asymmetry. If your mind is blown, if your perception of reality has fundamentally shifted, if you'll never look at light or matter or yourself the same way again, that was the goal. You've just spent 3 hours rewiring your understanding of existence itself. So here's my final request. Share this video with someone whose mind deserves to be blown. Subscribe to this channel if you want more journeys into the deep mysteries of reality. And most importantly, go outside tonight, look up at the stars, and realize that you're seeing light from matter that transformed billions of years ago, traveling across space-time to enter your eyes and transform again into neural signals, into conscious experience, into wonder. You are made of starlight. You are matter that was once light and will be light again. You are the universe's way of knowing itself, a brief candle of consciousness in the vast cosmic darkness, connected to everything through quantum entanglement, experiencing time because you have mass, transforming constantly from one moment to the next. And here's what I want you to do right now, in this moment. Look at your hand. Really look at it. Those atoms in your skin were forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. That star exploded, scattering its matter across space. That matter coalesced into clouds, then into our solar system, then into Earth, then into the food you ate, and now into your body. The photons bouncing off your hand right now, allowing you to see it, will travel to your retina at the speed of light, experiencing no time in their journey, and will be absorbed by molecules that will transform that light's energy into the electrochemical signals that create your conscious experience of seeing your own hand. You are watching light become matter, become consciousness, become self-awareness, all in the simple act of looking at your hand. The medieval Christian mystic Meister Eckhart wrote, "The eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me." He was describing mystical union, but he was also describing physics. You are the universe observing itself. The eye you use to see reality is reality looking at itself. There's no separation between observer and observed at the fundamental level. It's all one unified quantum system, temporarily appearing as separate parts. When you look at another person, you're not seeing an object separate from yourself. You're seeing another pattern in the same quantum field that creates you. You're seeing the universe looking at itself from a different angle. The light traveling between you creates quantum correlations, entanglement, connection. You are literally linked to everyone you see through the photons exchanging information between you. This has profound implications for how we treat each other. If we're all temporary patterns in the same underlying reality, all connected by entanglement, all made of the same transformed light from the Big Bang, then harming another person is harming yourself. Not metaphorically, literally. You are damaging another part of the same system you're part of. The Buddha taught compassion for all beings because all beings are one. Jesus taught, love your neighbor as yourself because your neighbor is yourself from a certain perspective. These spiritual teachings aren't just moral guidelines, they're descriptions of physical reality. And when you feel lonely, isolated, separate from the world, remember, that's an illusion created by your brain's need to maintain a coherent sense of self. At the quantum level, you're connected to everything. You're never alone because you're never truly separate. Now let's talk about what comes next, because the transformation between light and matter isn't just history, it's the future. Scientists are working on quantum computers that use the principles of superposition and entanglement to perform calculations impossible for classical computers. These machines exploit the same quantum weirdness that allows light to become matter and matter to become light. They're using the fundamental uncertainty of reality to solve problems. In laboratories around the world, physicists are creating new forms of matter called time crystals that repeat in time the way ordinary crystals repeat in space. They're creating states of matter called quantum liquids and topological insulators that behave in ways that shouldn't be possible according to classical physics. We're learning to manipulate individual atoms, to trap single photons, to create artificial atoms from light itself. We're approaching the point where we can play God with matter and light, arranging them at will, transforming one into the other on demand. And there's something even more extraordinary on the horizon. If we could ever create a controlled matter-antimatter reaction, not a bomb, but a reactor, we'd have access to the most efficient energy source possible. Remember, matter-antimatter annihilation converts 100% of mass into energy. 1 kilogram of antimatter reacting with 1 kilogram of matter would produce 180,000 terawatt-hours of energy, enough to power the entire United States for over 6 months. CERN produces tiny amounts of antimatter in particle colliders, but storing it is incredibly difficult. Antimatter annihilates instantly when it touches regular matter, so you have to trap it in magnetic fields, suspended in vacuum. We've managed to trap individual antiprotons for over a year, but we're nowhere near having useful quantities. But imagine a future where we can produce and store antimatter safely, where we can use the transformation of matter to light as an energy source. We could travel to the stars, powered by the same transformation that created us in the first place. We could become a civilization that runs on the fundamental energy of existence itself. And here's an even wilder thought. If we understand the transformation deeply enough, could we reverse entropy? Could we take scattered light and reconstruct it into ordered matter? Could we defeat the heat death of the universe? The second law of thermodynamics says entropy always increases, order becomes disorder. Concentrated energy becomes diffuse heat. Everything winds down. But that's only for closed systems. Living organisms are open systems. You decrease your own entropy by consuming energy from your environment, creating order in your body at the expense of creating disorder elsewhere. Life is a localized reversal of entropy. You are a temporary island of organization in a sea of chaos, maintained by constant transformation of energy from ordered forms, chemical energy in food, to disordered forms, waste heat. What if we could do that on a cosmic scale? What if we could use the transformation between light and matter to actively organize the universe, fighting against entropy, creating eternal complexity instead of eternal heat death? Freeman Dyson, the brilliant physicist, speculated about this. He imagined future civilizations that could survive the heat death by slowing down their thinking, operating on longer and longer time scales as the universe grew colder, extracting computation from the tiniest energy differentials, thinking slower and slower, but never stopping, using the last whispers of transformation to maintain consciousness forever. It's speculation, but it's based on real physics. The transformation between light and matter might be the key to cosmic immortality, not for individuals, but for consciousness itself. Let me tell you a personal story, because I think it will help you understand why this matters on a human level, not just an abstract scientific level. When I first truly understood E=mc, not just memorized the equation, but felt its implications in my bones, I was sitting in a park at sunset. The light was golden, streaming through the trees, and I was eating an apple, thinking about where the energy in that apple came from. Sunlight hit leaves. Photosynthesis captured that light, split water molecules, fixed carbon dioxide, built sugars. The tree grew the apple using energy from light. I bit into the apple. My digestive system broke it down. The glucose entered my bloodstream. My cells burned it with oxygen, creating ATP. That ATP powered my muscles, my brain, my heartbeat. I was being animated by sunlight, transformed through multiple steps into the motion of my body. And then I realized that sunlight came from nuclear fusion in the sun's core. Hydrogen becoming helium, losing mass, that mass becoming energy, that energy becoming photons, those photons traveling 8 minutes to Earth, being absorbed by leaves, transformed into chemical bonds, eaten by me, transformed into my thoughts and movements. I was thinking with matter that used to be light, that used to be matter in the sun's core. My consciousness, in that moment, was powered by stellar fusion, by the transformation between light and matter happening 93 million miles away. And I laughed. Just sat there laughing in the park, because it was so absurd and so beautiful. I was a human being, eating an apple, watching a sunset, and I was made of stardust, powered by starlight, conscious because of transformations that started in the Big Bang and continued through supernovas and solar fusion and photosynthesis and metabolism. I was the universe eating itself, watching itself, delighting in its own existence. That moment changed my life. Not in some dramatic way. I didn't quit my job or move to a monastery. But I stopped feeling separate. I stopped feeling like a small, vulnerable thing in a vast, indifferent universe. I realized I am the universe, temporarily experiencing itself as a human being. And you are too. Right now, as you watch this, you are the universe watching a video about itself. You are matter that was once light, learning about the transformation that created you. How can you ever feel small or insignificant again, knowing that? How can you ever feel truly alone, knowing you're quantum mechanically entangled with everything you've ever touched? How can you ever fear death, knowing you're just a temporary form that will transform into other forms? The knowledge we've explored today isn't just intellectual, it's transformative. It changes who you are, how you see yourself, how you relate to reality. And that's the final transformation I want you to experience. The transformation of your own consciousness, your own understanding, your own sense of self. You came into this video thinking you were a person watching a video about physics. I want you to leave understanding that you are the universe watching itself through the temporary lens of a human mind, learning about the transformations that sustain your existence. That's not just a change in knowledge. That's a change in being. So where does this leave us? After 3 hours of exploring the deepest mysteries of light, matter, transformation, consciousness, and existence itself, what's the takeaway? Here it is. You are not a fixed thing in a world of things. You are a process in a world of processes. You are not separate from nature. You are nature, temporarily organized into human form. You are not merely in the universe, you are the universe, looking at itself from a particular angle. The transformation between light and matter isn't something that happened once at the Big Bang, or that happens in distant stars or in physics laboratories. It's happening in you, constantly. Every breath you take, every thought you think, every movement you make involves the transformation of energy between forms. You are the transformation. Not something experiencing transformation, but the transformation itself, temporarily aware of its own existence. And this isn't just philosophy or poetry. This is physics. This is measurable, testable, verified by thousands of experiments. The equations describe you. E equals mc is your autobiography. The Schrödinger equation is your story. Quantum field theory is your genealogy. You are made of light that became matter 13.8 billion years ago. You are held together by virtual photons that don't exist but create forces anyway. You are quantum mechanically entangled with everything you've ever interacted with. You experience time because you have mass. You are conscious for reasons we don't fully understand. You will return to light when you die. And all of this, every single bit of it is happening right now, in this moment, as you exist. The ancient Greeks had a word, gnosis, meaning direct experiential knowledge, as opposed to intellectual understanding. You can intellectually understand that you're made of atoms. But to truly know it, to feel it, to experience your body as a collection of quantum vibrations, temporarily maintaining coherence, that's gnosis. And that's what I hope you've gained from these 3 hours. Not just information, but transformation. Not just facts about light and matter, but a fundamentally altered understanding of what you are. Because once you truly understand that you're made of light, you can't go back to seeing yourself as just a person, separate from the cosmos, isolated and alone. You're a cosmic being, participating in the grand transformation that is existence itself. The Sufi poet Hafez wrote, "I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being." He wasn't speaking metaphorically. You literally are light, temporarily taking solid form, capable of recognizing your own nature. You are astonishing, not because you're special compared to others. Everyone is made of the same transformed light, but because the mere fact of your existence is miraculous. The universe spent billions of years organizing matter into structures complex enough to be aware of themselves, and you are the result. You are a miracle of transformation, and so is everyone else, and so is everything else. The entire universe is a miracle of transformation, constantly reinventing itself, constantly changing forms, and you are part of that miracle, aware of it, able to contemplate it, able to feel wonder at your own existence. Let me leave you with one final thought, a question to carry with you. If you're made of light that became matter and will become light again, if your consciousness is the universe observing itself, if you're entangled with everything you've ever touched, if the boundaries between you and the world are illusory, then what are you really? Not your name, not your job, not your relationships or achievements or possessions. Beneath all of that, at the most fundamental level, what are you? You are a pattern of information, maintained by constant transformation of energy between forms. You are a temporary knot in the quantum field that fills all of space. You are the universe's way of experiencing itself from a particular perspective. You are consciousness arising from complexity. You are light that learned to think. But more than that, you are part of something vast and incomprehensible and beautiful. You are connected to everything that has ever existed or ever will exist. You are participating in a cosmic process that began with the Big Bang and will continue until the last stars burn out and beyond. You matter, not because you're important in some cosmic hierarchy, but because you're a necessary part of the transformation. Without conscious beings like you, the universe would be just mindless forces following mathematical laws. With you, the universe becomes aware. It experiences beauty, wonder, love, curiosity, It asks questions about itself. You are how the universe knows itself, and that makes you indispensable. So here's what I want you to do after this video ends. First, go outside and look at the world with new eyes. See the light for what it really is, transformed matter from the sun, traveling through space to enter your eyes and create your conscious experience. See matter for what it is, frozen light, temporarily taking solid form. See yourself for what you are, a cosmic transformation in progress. Second, share this understanding, not by lecturing people or quoting physics equations, but by living with the awareness that you're connected to everything. Treat others with compassion, because they're part of the same universal transformation you are. Treat the earth with reverence, because it's not separate from you. It's the substance you're made of, temporarily organized into planet form. Third, let go of the illusion of permanence. You are not a fixed self that needs to be protected from change. You are change itself, constant transformation, flowing like water from form to form. Embrace that. Let yourself transform. Let yourself grow and change, and eventually dissolve back into the cosmic flow. And fourth, feel wonder. Never lose the capacity to be amazed by your own existence, by the mere fact that you are, by the improbable transformation that created you from light and will transform you back into light again. You are temporary, but you are also eternal. The pattern that is, you will fade, but the energy that animates you cannot be destroyed. You will transform, but you will never truly end. You are light. You are matter. You are consciousness. You are the universe. And for this brief, beautiful moment, you are aware of all of it. That awareness is the greatest miracle in the cosmos. Thank you for spending these 3 hours with me, diving into the deepest mysteries of existence. Thank you for opening your mind to ideas that challenge everything you thought you knew about reality. Thank you for being the kind of person who asks questions about the nature of light and matter and consciousness and existence itself. The fact that you're curious, that you seek understanding, that you want to know what you really are, that makes you part of humanity's greatest adventure, the quest to understand reality itself. We've come so far. From ancient humans wondering about the stars, to Newton understanding gravity, to Einstein revealing that energy and mass are the same, to quantum mechanics showing that reality is stranger than we imagined, to modern physics discovering entanglement and dark energy and the deep connections between everything. But we've barely begun. The mysteries ahead are vaster than the ones we've solved. The transformation between light and matter that we've explored today is just one thread in a cosmic tapestry we're only beginning to perceive. And you, yes, you, right now, watching this, you are part of the generation that will uncover new mysteries. That will push the boundaries of human understanding further. That will transform our conception of reality in ways we can't yet imagine. Whether you're a physicist or not doesn't matter. Every time you look at the world with curiosity, every time you ask, why? Or how? Every time you feel wonder at the beauty and mystery of existence, you're participating in humanity's quest to know itself, to understand the universe, to comprehend the transformation that creates and sustains everything. You are a scientist of your own consciousness, an explorer of your own being, a philosopher of your own existence. And the journey never ends. Every answer creates new questions. Every mystery solved reveals deeper mysteries. The transformation continues on and on, layer after layer of reality revealing itself to minds curious enough to look. So keep looking, keep wondering, keep asking questions, keep transforming your own understanding as you learn about the transformation that created you. You are light becoming matter, becoming consciousness, becoming wonder, becoming understanding, becoming wisdom. You are the universe waking up. You are the transformation. And that is the most beautiful thing I know. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being the universe's way of knowing itself. if only for this brief moment. Now go out there and shine. You're made of light, after all. It's what you do naturally. And if this video transformed your understanding of reality, if it changed how you see yourself in the world, hit that like button, subscribe for more explorations of the deepest mysteries of existence, and share this with someone whose mind deserves to be blown. Tell me in the comments, what was your biggest revelation? What transformed your understanding the most? Where are you watching from? And what time is it there? I want to know where in the world this message about the nature of light and matter and consciousness is reaching people. We are all part of the same transformation, all connected by the quantum threads that weave reality together. Until next time, remember, you are made of stars. You are animated by starlight. You are the universe observing itself, and that makes you absolutely extraordinary.